Hello, I'm Peter.
And I'm Ben.
And welcome to Cut Content with our guest today, Bouphe.
Hello, everybody.
And Bouphe is here to tell us what he or she, it says,
or she
on my script, should be cut from the whole world of video gaming.
The pantheon of video game world.
Entirely.
There is a lot of stuff as well.
Yeah, so much to choose from, whether it's a character or a trope or a concept or a series. Anything. So that's what we're here to do. But Bouphe, thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Bouphe, for those of you who don't know, we met back at our time at the Yogscast. Bouphe's a sort of a retro streamer on Twitch, among other things.
Among other things. We don't talk about those things, though.
And you specialise in sort of 90s, noughties video games, right? PC mostly, or not PC.
Mostly
computer, I should say, not PC.
Yes, computer.
Not PC. Amiga is one of my favourite little computies, but I also do dip into the old consoles a tad here and there. PlayStation, PS1,
nice.
N64 when I fancy, but
yeah, all the good stuff.
The Amiga, yeah, all the good stuff.
Are you still on the letter A because you're doing Amiga alphabet, aren't you? Where you're playing through every Amiga game.
So I'm finally onto the D.
Oh, are you?
Oh, wow.
I'm not paying attention.
I got there finally, and it's a goodie. It's a goodie. We've got a lot of dragons and death and all the good things in the letter D, opposed to. Oh, I started off with D-Day though.
Oh no, because of the
I didn't want to
hyphen.
start off with D-Day. Yeah, it was D hyphen. I was like.
What's the best D you've had so far?
I would say Dark Mirror is a very good D. There was one called Deliverance, which is not the banjo playing Deliverance, but it was a platformer Deliverance. And you're a big Viking who turns into a skull when he dies. That was really good fun.
Amazing.
Right.
Amazing. And we met you last year when you came into the office and you brought your disgusting sex games with you.
Oh.
I'm really sorry about that. You haven't recovered.
Not really. Honestly, Peter said, maybe we should get Bouphe on. I was like, the one with the sex games?
Yeah.
That
really?
One. There isn't any other ones, but yeah, that one.
I'll be very surprised if you say Down with Sex Games as one of your entries in today's video, because you don't seem the sort who should be thumbing down those. Well,
we don't have enough sex games.
Put your thumb wherever you want, I suppose. But yeah. Well, I suppose we should move on and find out what number one is.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, the first thing that I would probably like to get rid of most of all, out of anything in the world,
I've
struggled.
high.
She's gone in.
I'm starting high here. I'm starting on a strong point because I think this is how I'm going to draw people in and go, you know what, she's got a point. It's inventory management. I can never find anything.
Are there any particular games where this has tripped you up?
It has. I recently played Morrowind and I had to get someone to make a mod for me to find out what was in my inventory.
Bouphe mod.
It was purposely for me. Someone was like, you know what, I'm going to help you out here, Bouphe. I'm going to retexture all of your potions and all of your scrolls so that you can see them and go, that's what that is. And they all had different shapes. Like, if you look at the standard sort of Elder Scrolls inventory, you've got 3 different potions that have one effect, but they're slightly stronger than the other ones, and they all look very similar. Then you've got to sort of figure out, what can I fit in my pockets? I've got finite pockets, apparently.
So is it like a weight limit thing, or is it just actual inventory spaces that you have an issue with?
I can't find anything. It's not so much that I don't have a big enough inventory sometimes. Although the ones where you have to Tetris your guns into place can really can we just get rid of inventories? Just like, I want something to be pulled from the ether that I want when I need it.
So basically you want to replace all inventories in every game with just a sort of a command line that you can type in for a keyword and it just brings it to you.
Well, I mean, I think the smaller the inventory, it means that you can find things, but then you've got other problems. Like, I am a hoarder in my games. I don't know whether you guys can relate to that, where
Always.
I've got 300 wheels of cheese and
you might need them though.
Stash
You don't know when.
You might need them.
Well, if you get in a pinch and those potions that you can't identify finally run out, just eat 300 cheeses and you're fine.
Yeah, it's great. And it was one of those things where I decided, you know what, I'm going to go into alchemy and make my own potions so I know what I'm doing. That was even worse.
They're all made out of cheese.
They're all made out of cheese and like scrapings from corpses, and then when you do alchemy, you've got to pick up all your ingredients and you don't know what they are. They're the worst. Yeah. You have to taste them and they go, oops, you're poisoned. Sorry.
Whoops.
Do you think there's something to be said for inventories in games that that it kind of adds to the tension of, like Resident Evil, for example? Or is it, nah, I just want that. Yeah. Give me that rocket launcher all day, every day.
Survival aspect you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
As soon as I find the item that I want, there's no stopping me. It's usually some kind of shotgun or very overpowered weapon that I can just fire off into everybody's faces, but finding it is the problem. And it's like when I try and manage my inventory and go, okay, I want, say, 50 health potions because I'm playing Diablo and I need all of these health potions, and I've got to put them on my hotbar and trying to make sure that they're accessible when I need them. But I'm never very good at that.
But it's like Minecraft as well. That's an obvious. I think it. I mean, certain people are really good at managing their inventory, but like. I just end up with like loads of stacks of like gravel and crap. That's the other thing. In games where like your inventory is automatically filling up with just all the gubbins that you're walking over, you know, that's something to. I guess I can kind of get behind you on this, where it's kind of in combination with other things. So, you know, I think inventory management on its own isn't always a bad thing, but like you say, you know, that's when it's a smaller inventory. But the bigger it gets, and if there's then mechanics where if you touch that little piece of dirt on the floor, you're going to be picking it up.
And I've got to put it in chests, and then you've got chest inventory management. You've got to find different chests for everything to put it in, and I've got to sort that out properly. I've got to put a sign on there. I'm never going to find it again. I'm never going to find it. It's the bane of my existence, and everybody makes fun of me for it. Hence the mod. The same person modded me Bouphe's big chest, and it was a chest it was a massive chest that I could dump everything in because I just didn't have anywhere to put all my junk.
How good is that though? Having someone just it was really good. Doing purpose-built mods for you.
It was like they'd modded so much stuff in there that I could like jump around Vivek super easy and have. It was great. Nothing to break the game and nothing to make it too like. Unlike the game itself, but just to make it so that I didn't spend half an hour trying to find that exclusive health potion. I
tell you one game that does wind me up with its inventory is Dragon's Dogma, which is that third-person RPG.
Tell us about it, Peter.
Well,
Let it have it.
One thing I hate about that and its inventory system is that you can pick up things like fish off the floor, and when you do that, if you leave them in your inventory for too long, they go rotten, and so you'll go back to your inventory like a day later, ready to eat a fish because you need a little bit of health, and all you've got is like rotten fish,
spoiled in
there. Yeah,
Fallout 76 does that as well, but that obviously does worse things than just spoiling food.
What like? Go on, give us a little bit of an example.
Well,
you let them have it now, Ben.
Okay, well, I don't know if you heard about this game called Fallout 76, right? It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You turn it on and it just goes no.
Yeah.
And then it shreds your computer from the inside out. The whole thing. It just.
I did have to get a new PC after playing Fallout 76.
Oh my god.
It happens.
It was that bad.
It's dangerous. Well, Bouphe, good news. Inventories are dead.
Oh, good. I'm really glad.
They're gone.
Is that it? They've been cut.
So you don't even have to. They've just been cut. They're gone.
They're gone. There's no more inventories anymore.
What happens when I pick things up off the floor now?
You just have to use it immediately.
The entry was inventory management rather than inventory.
Well, they're just gone.
Right.
They're all gone now.
It's just gone.
It's like a genie situation. You have to word things very carefully, otherwise it just goes.
Okay.
It's gone now.
Well, there you go. Thanks,
Sorry,
Bouphe. The inventories have gone.
She's
it's your
just got
fault.
rid of inventories.
What other beloved game mechanic are you about to completely remove from all the video gaming, Bouphe?
I don't know how this next one can possibly go wrong, honestly, because it's been a recurring thing. I mean, especially through the late 90s and early noughties of fixed camera angles.
Oh.
You've got, like, as you move around the room, suddenly they decide, you know what, we're going to put the camera over here. Just so it's like a bit cinematic, you know? It's, very theatrical. But no, it means I cannot shoot that zombie in the face. He's going to pop around a corner and spook me, and not in the good way.
But what if the intention was to be spooked?
Well, if the intention was to be spooked, then at least let me move the camera around afterwards. Put in a tiny little cutscene or something. I don't want to be trapped in a corner where I can't see myself and what I'm trying to pull a gun out on, where he's kind of shambling towards me. I think Resident Evil is one of the notable games that does this, where you can run straight towards the camera and then you're just gone. And you don't know where you are. You don't know which direction you're turning. I also played Alone in the Dark quite recently, and it was just this sort of polygonal 3D world where one wrong step and you're down a ravine or something, and you can get taken off by some mad lad zombie.
Mad lad. Yeah.
The mad lad of the zombie, and completely missing items that are just tucked away just slightly out of view. And you have to replay these sort of sections over and over again because you have to sort of figure out where to go and then like how to get there. And doors are hidden. Just they're there in the room. It's a normal place for a door to be. This is not a hidden doorway. Like, that door's in that wall where it's always been, but I can't get through it.
So do you have an issue from sort of the logic perspective of that if you were that character, you would see that item and that door because it's right in front of you, but because the developer logically has put the camera in a corner, you then just can't see it, so your character looks like a massive idiot.
I mean, in general, these camera angles make me look like an idiot because I'm going, I don't know where I'm going, and it's like, well, it's right there, but they're sometimes the most awkward camera angles that make no sense whatsoever as well. Like, not even from a film perspective. Like, there was this one part in, I think it was Alone in the Dark 1, the first game, you walk into a cupboard and then suddenly you're looking straight up your character's skirt.
Oh, that's definitely not a good film perspective at all.
It's not, and you can see, I mean, there was nothing up there, which is even worse. You want something. And then everyone was like, you need to find some matches in this room. And I was like, I can't, I'm looking straight up. There's nothing going on. I can't find matches there.
No matches up there, no.
So it just makes it really difficult to play a game and not get angry.
Yeah, I think, like, you make a good point about, as well as not being able to find doors and items and things, I think it is kind of silly when you're playing Resident Evil, for example. That's a good example. Or even Dino Crisis as well. I don't know if you played that.
Oh.
That's got some fixed camera angles in it. And the idea that you're walking around this interior and all you're going to do is walk to the end of the corridor and turn 90 degrees, but like you've reached past the corner and you have to just keep walking a little bit more to actually see what's round it before the camera angle changes. And it turns out there's loads and loads of zombies there, but as Ben says, there's a bunch of zombies there that you would have been able to see before the camera changed.
Would have seen them.
It does make you feel like a bit of an idiot.
Even where you're walking, you're like, right, I'm walking down this corridor, I need to turn right. The camera angle changes, and now you suddenly need to turn left.
No.
And so it completely throws off the whole sort of like, I know what I'm doing. Oh, wait, no, you don't.
Isn't it weird, though, that when you go into those rooms, you can keep holding that direction and still keep walking? So you could be holding right to go to the right, and then when it cuts to the next scene, you're still holding right, but you're now walking left, but you're still holding right, and then you have to let go of all the buttons
and then start
to get
pressing left.
Your brain completely rewired.
It's just a bit much. I don't know of many recent games that do it as much.
This is the thing. So I was about to say, as much as fixed camera angles are kind of archaic and you might look at them and think, oh man, this is terrible, right? The one thing that they did arguably allow for is an element of like higher graphical fidelity, because if it's a fixed camera angle, they can just plaster almost
Very
a photorealistic texture onto every surface.
Final Fantasy VII did that. All
Yeah.
of its backgrounds were hand painted and drawn and stuff.
So there are some benefits to that, I would say, to the fixed camera angle. Do you think it's worth it, though?
I did. No, never. I love being able to. I mean, as a retro streamer anyway, I love all those polygons and stupid textures that don't fit. I like them. They're charming. I recently played a game that came out this year that had fixed camera angles, and it meant you couldn't beat the boss. I had the devs in the stream going, "Oh, you just need to hit him from behind." I'm like, "Can't get behind him. I don't know. There is no sense of depth here."
Oh no.
I'm not going to name and shame the game.
That's awkward, isn't it, when the dev is right there?
It was about unicorns.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
But
D-Day, that one.
It was D-Day, but it was the kind of thing that I could not keep my mouth shut about it because it was that bad. They were like, "Right, you need to pull that lever," and I was like, "I can't see the lever. The boss is in the way." It's sort of like I can't maneuver the camera around.
Yeah.
There's no passive or dynamic camera to go for because Spyro had those two options. You can it'll follow you around, or you can change it yourself. I like having a little bit of choice. I like being able to choose when to look up a lady's skirt.
Me too.
Right, you always ask first, obviously.
Always, obviously.
So I think, that's us covered with fixed camera angles, talking about lady skirts. I mean, we don't really do whether or not it should go into
It's cut.
Room 101,
It's done.
do we?
Boufe's spoken.
It's cut. I mean, it already kind of was cut by devs
But from all those games,
but
it's gone now. All those old games.
It's gone.
If you go back and play them now, it's just half-built sets and levels that you can just view from any angle.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Well, cheers, Bouphe. You've just ruined Resident Evil.
I can't replay Final Fantasy. Well, Resident Evil is... We'll see what the third one you've brought along is, but Resident Evil, after having its inventory system and and fixed camera angles being stripped, it's unplayable now.
Let's find out Booph's third thing. I'm gonna just make a guess now. Bouphe hates zombies.
Yeah, guns.
Guns. I really hate guns. I really hate a general just anger. A story. Hate stories.
Yes, get that out of there.
Well, Resident Evil 1 will be fine.
Oh! In reality, here's my third and final thing that I would love to get cut from gaming. The anticlimactic ending. Well, good night, everybody. So there are a lot of games that I've played throughout my life where it's left me kind of like, is that it? Is that all we get?
Really?
Really game?
Yeah.
I've climbed mountains. I have slain massive ogres. I am just about to defeat the bad guy, and then I get a tiny cutscene. Maybe I get a little cutscene that says, "Oh, thanks, hero, you've done it. Have this item," and I go, "Thanks." Now what? And they just fade into the background going, "See ya. Au revoir."
Especially, I think with older games, you get that more because
you get like a text box.
Yeah.
Hooray! Thanks. And it's happened time and time again. And I don't know whether it's because they didn't have a decent idea for the ending. They got all this fantastic story going on, and then how do we finish this? Let's just end it. And they all lived happily ever after, or it was all just a dream. It's that kind of thing.
What are the biggest culprits for you? Do you have any specific games that you were really enjoying and then, they kind of ruined it right at the end for you?
I mean, I'm going back to Morrowind again just because it's the most recent game that I finished playing, and Dagoth was there, and I smashed his heart up, and there he was like, "No!" And then the building collapsed, and this lady was like, "You've done it, hero, have a ring." And I was like, "Thanks." And she disappeared, and I turned around and I looked back, and that was it. Like, I wasn't made a god like I was promised. I wasn't ascended into heaven. The other sort of anticlimactic ending that I am facing, that I've still never gotten past, this is how bad these endings are in particular, is that there was the first game on the PS1 that I ever got, because it was bundled with it, was Mickey's Wild Adventure.
Okay.
And as an 8-year-old, I was like, cool, this is my first game, I'm going to finish it. I take ages finishing this game, and it's like, oh, so annoying. And then it says, why don't you try it on a harder mode?
Oh, no.
Great.
That's the ending.
and you've not yet been able to do the harder mode, are you saying?
I haven't done it. I've never done it.
So you've still never completed the first game you ever had?
Yeah.
no.
Is that the saddest story you've ever heard?
Oh, it is a bit. That's tragic.
I don't even know what my first game was though, so I can't concretely say that I've done the same.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know exactly what mine was, but like my earliest memory is probably Spyro 1, which I've obviously completed several times. Yeah.
I think it was just I was so traumatized by this that it stuck with me, that I was sat looking at this screen that said, why not try it on a harder mode? And just the controller falls from my small hands, and I just weep, because that's it.
It's almost a dig, isn't it? It's like, oh yeah, you did it, but
Come back when you've done it properly.
yeah.
Again with Street Fighter EX2 Plus, another game that I rented very early on in my childhood, and it's so hard to beat Bison. This is in the arcade mode. You've got to beat Bison to unlock all the rest of the characters, right? But you can't, because you can only unlock them on, I think it's on the either medium or hard. That's how you unlock the characters. So I've never managed, because on easy mode, Bison's, he's hard. He's really hard. And I've played it since then, and I still can't do it. Like, I've played it recently, this past year, and I can't beat Bison.
You're talking to two very accomplished fighting game enthusiasts over here.
Well, I was about to say.
So good at those the punch combos.
The punch combos, the punchy kicks.
The only fighting series that I'm any good at is Tekken. And actually, probably my favourite in the whole series is Tekken Tag on PS2. Maybe Tekken 3.
Yes! Well, I mean, Tekken Tag, you get to play bowling in that. Oh, wow.
Do you remember, Bouphe, the sort of unlockable endings you got for each character at the end of Tekken Tag Arcade? It was.
I would watch Hwoarangs over and over again.
Well,
I was
yeah.
really into that.
But in that game in particular, what they did was just play the same piece of music over every single one of them.
It's in my head right now.
Yeah, me too. And
I covered that song in chiptune. I did it.
And the worst thing is that sometimes, you'd be playing as like one of your favourite characters, you get to the end, and it would be that music, and rather than sort of developing the character in any way by having them, meet their nemesis or, finally get some sort of artifact they've been hunting for, it would just be them standing in like a dojo doing some moves, and then
having a fight,
the music playing, and then that's it, and you're like, oh,
that's it.
Okay.
And then you get the ones with Nina and Anna, and they're exactly the same ones.
Yeah.
Because they're sisters. They've just decided, you know what, we're going to take this and we're just going to do it from their perspective. It's like, I've had it. I've had enough.
Do you have an example of a really good ending, one that ties together all of the little notes and makes you feel like you've really accomplished something and you're done with that game now?
Yeah, you know what? I think Klonoa on PlayStation, PS1 Klonoa, it had a twist. You thought you were ending and you hadn't. You defeated the bad guy and you went back down to your planet, and you actually returned to your. It was like you were in the dream world. Spoilers, sorry guys. You were in the dream world and you returned to your timeline, and it's like, you know what? It's heartbreaking. And it's satisfying, and I'm like, you know what? I've done good. I've finished off all the loose endings and tied up, and I can carry on in my little life and leave these little characters that I've met. It's really sad, but I feel like I've done my part.
You did it. You went on an adventure together, and you reached the conclusion together.
That's kind of. It's interesting that a game like Klonoa, which is a relatively. Not a simple game necessarily, but it's
for kids.
It's for kids, yeah. It's like very family friendly, and it's a 2.5D platformer, happy stuff. But it's got a more satisfying ending for you than something big budget
the
like
Elder Scrolls.
Well, yeah, the Elder Scrolls, or is it Mass Effect 2 that people were really mad about?
No, Mass Effect 3. Mass Effect 2 had an excellent ending.
Oh, I see. Mass Effect 3 is fairly infamous. Halo 2 as well. All these big budget games disappointing millions upon millions of fans.
I got Klonoa. It's the best.
Well,
I cried like 3 times in that game as well. You don't get that sort of raw emotion from me, from just anything.
I'm not disputing, I think that's, although it's funny that is the case, I think it's quite interesting that, it's not always about the budget and the kind of the raw emotion throughout the experience. It doesn't matter if you're having a fun, happy, colourful time. There might actually be a good ending here that, you take it away with you.
And it's like there are some games that I've just completely forgotten about how it ended because it was just so anticlimactic that I cannot remember how it ends. And I think, I'm sure I've played this game before, but I can't remember ever ending it. And I think, I finished Grandia twice, and I can't remember how that ends. It's it goes on for a long time, but surely I should remember whether I saved the world or not.
Right.
Surely.
But Bouphe, isn't it about the friends we made along the way rather than just the ending?
Well, now you're making me feel bad.
Maybe Bouphe didn't make any friends along the way.
Maybe.
I didn't make any friends.
Were you just really horrible to everyone along the way in those games?
Yeah, you're on to me. I'm sorry.
Oh, see, well, there we go. But do we cut endings from games now?
No, not endings.
Endings gone?
Yeah,
No.
endings are gone now.
Unsatisfactory ones, anticlimactic. I don't think any of the Resident Evil games have ever had an anticlimactic ending, have they? Can you think of? I've not played them all, but the main series
I
ones.
haven't played them all.
Not off the top of my head, but then it does in a similar example to what Bouphe gave in Resi 2, for example. We just played through that.
We have
the remake. When you get to the end, you get the credits, you get kicked back to the main menu, and then you get told, play it through again.
Yeah.
There's another run now, and it's got the real ending.
Yeah.
It's
The real
really?
ending.
I had a great time, but now I feel like I maybe didn't have a great time.
Yeah, what am I missing?
Yeah. Oh, MGS5 did that, for sure. That really just pulls the rug out from under you.
I guess with a lot of these examples, it's not necessarily that it's an anticlimactic ending. It's that you think it's going to be the ending, but then there's some kind of anticlimax where it's like, no, go. You're not totally done yet.
But wait.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you a very exciting it doesn't give you a reason to be enthusiastic about continuing to play.
No, it's like,
you're just giving me busy work now.
Yeah. Because you get there waiting for the kind of the release of
Even Tetris, guys. Tetris, you get the rocket ship to take off.
Yeah.
Well, there we
Right?
go.
That's really satisfying.
Oh,
I go,
Jesus.
you know what?
In Pac-Man, the maze flashes.
Yeah, whoa.
Yeah.
Pretty satisfying.
Awesome.
Well then, I think anticlimactic endings,
Definitely.
cut. Inventories, cut.
It's all done.
Gone forever.
Yeah.
No
Just
more inventories
gone.
in games. Fixed camera angles, gone.
Forever.
Gone.
Just forever in a day. Bouphe, do you have any closing statements for your things that have been cut here today?
I'm very, very sorry.
You've ruined a perfectly good survival horror series with, I think, pretty much all three of those.
Single-handedly taken down Resident Evil.
I've ruined a lot of things for a lot of people, and you know what? I'm proud of that. But at the same time, I'm still going to apologise for it.
Yeah.
You were the ones that cut them.
We did.
I was just bringing what I wanted to get rid of, and you were just like, you know what? It's done.
Can we just rename the show Hot Takes? Because that's basically what Bouphe has turned it into, hasn't she? With a hot
I'm just getting
take.
really angry about things. I'm such an angry person.
Well, thank you very much, Bouphe, for being with us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel it was very cathartic to get that off my chest.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular, I know there's probably plenty, that you would like to plug for all the people watching at home?
I would totally love to plug my Twitch channel. It's twitch.tv/Bouphe. I play a bunch of oldish games. Not too old, but reasonably old. Some are even older than me.
We'll link to everything in the description below if you want to find Bouphe and everywhere she is at. But Bouphe, thank you again for coming on the first edition of Cut Content, and make sure you tell all of your friends who might want to come on that what an amazing show this is.
I've already spoken to several of my non-existent friends.
Oh, amazing. This is great. She
they're
cut her
excited.
friends as well. Look. She's so ahead of the game.
They're around me right now. Come on, guys. Group hug.
Are these-
They're
Wow.
all
Hey
here.
guys, the pizza's here.
Are these all the friends that you didn't make along the way?
Oh,
These are all the friends I didn't make along the way.
Great.
Is Bouphe like some kind of Doctor Who alien where she just traps friends that she makes along the way and keeps them with her? They're cut from the get-go.
They get wiped from existence.
We're giving away her secret now.
Oh.
Sorry. Anyway, we should probably wrap up there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everybody, for watching at home. Thank you again to Bouphe, and we'll be back in probably another month's time, won't we?
Yeah, we will.
With another content with another guest.
Bye, I suppose.
Bye.
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 Bye.